I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And we're going to follow up some more from yesterday. And yes, I see you on the website in the Wix chat, so I see you there. We're going to follow up on the video. I did some research after I did the show yesterday. It's how I do it sometimes, because when I see something, I like to see it myself before I go out and ask the internet if I'm right or not, or if I'm on the right track. And I use different methods to do it. And I want to show you just some stuff I found that came back in yesterday. And after I did my search, okay? So let's take a look at that, okay? Go step by step here. Okay, remember yesterday, if you didn't see yesterday's show, you're going to be maybe a little lost. Okay, we talked about how geysers and craters looked alike. Now, it doesn't mean I'm right. I very well could be. Okay, but geysers and craters looked alike. And how, if you look at the giant craters that are upon the world in different places, they tell us, of course, that it's rocks falling out the sky hitting it. And there's other theories out there. But to me, I don't believe in rocks falling out the sky. Okay. I might believe in a fallen angel falling out the sky, but not a rock. Okay. The closest thing we've seen or know of that is like brimstone, maybe, which is kind of like a rock, I guess. It's a fiery type of material that comes out the heavens, according to the Bible. But we have these giant places around the world where these huge things looks like something impacted it. But I started looking at it closer and realizing that it may not be impaction that we're seeing there. It may be actually where water at a time in the past came up from below and blew up dirt all the way around the outside of the crater. You have it looks just like a crater does when you compare it to a geyser. You have the pile of dirt around the outside, and then you have the hole in the middle that over time, if there wasn't water coming up, would fill back up with dirt. Just from rain and everything, erosion and stuff. But I wanted to go out and look and think about some things, because I was looking at the Carolina Bays, which is a long series along the coast, because they're not just in Carolinas. They run all the way right along the coastline from up towards like New York, all the way down like into Georgia, maybe even slightly into Florida. And they are these round circles that are slightly off circled, but very, very close to circles. They basically all look identical. And they claim that they're not meteor impacts or anything like that. They claim that they're something else. That's like literally what's said about them. The science version, you might say. Okeechobee in Florida, it could be. It could be. But if it is, what created it? What created all of these things? Okay. And I think that what created these things is possibly related to earthquakes. Okay. But I'm not talking about the geysers and the craters at this moment. I'm talking about the Carolina Bays, where if you'd had an earthquake, especially a large enough earthquake, there's a phenomenon that goes on in different places but especially along the coastlines in an area that's called the freshwater saltwater convergence line. Okay? The freshwater saltwater convergence line. And that line exists inland from the ocean. Okay? And I find it interesting that the bays, as they call them, that are all the way up and down the East Coast are pretty much in a line. And so I started doing some digging. So I looked here, as you can see, it says, while earthquakes don't make true tornado-style water spouts, because I call it a water spout, but really it's a water eruption. Well, let's just go to the next slide about that. Liquefaction. I mentioned liquefaction yesterday. And liquefaction, spelled wrong, but anyways, liquefaction fountains. When an earthquake shakes saturated ground, especially like a freshwater, saltwater convergence area, water and sand can be forced upward through cracks, producing sand blows or water fountains. These can be several feet tall, even resembling geysers. And of course, we'll see here in a minute, it's more than several feet tall. So some documented occasions of this. In many major quakes, including the 1964 Alaska earthquake, massive sand water eruptions up to 20 feet tall were seen. In 1811 and 1812, in the New Madrid earthquakes, the Mississippi Valley, witnesses described the ground as belching fountains of sand and water. 1999 Izmit earthquake in Turkey, similar mud water spouts occurred near the coastlines. Freshwater, saltwater convergence. The ground in the areas that are close to the coasts are saturated with fresh water that's running out to the ocean and saturated with salt water that penetrates into the land as well. So you have both. So we've got documented cases of this going on. Submarine or coastal effects. Underwater quakes can push trapped gas or water through seabed vents, forming undersea plumes or spouts. Near shore, get a little bit of water there. Near shore, this may appear as brief jets of rising water from the sea or localized bubbling columns. In shallow bays, observers have mistaken these for water spouts or columns of smoke rising from the sea. Hydrothermal and geyser systems. Come on, make it bigger. I got to get a new mouse or something. Okay. In volcanic regions like Yellowstone or Iceland, earthquakes can regenerate or reactivate geysers or trigger new water jets. Example, after 1959 Hibjan Lake earthquake near Yellowstone, several geysers erupted spontaneously, some higher than ever before. Of course, it says mechanism quake shifts subsurface channels, releasing pressurized hot water or steam. The shake of a quake, any violent shaking of any material produces heat because you're slamming the molecules together. And so you could have instant or pretty near instant boiling water. Okay. And whether it's fresh water or salt water, when it turns into the state of steam, it's going to explode and go somewhere. Most likely the point of least resistance, and in these cases, it's, up. Historical and eyewitness accounts. Okay. During the 1811 and 1812 New Madrid earthquakes near the Mississippi River, reports from settlers and riverboat captains describe the earth opened and spouted water, sand, and coal. Found that one very interesting. Great fountains burst from the ground. The river appeared to rise in jets like columns of water. Some even thought the Mississippi ran backwards due to the shock wave and temporary uplift. 1755 Lisbon earthquake, Portugal. Coastal witnesses describe water erupting from whales and harbor floors. See, again, in a lot of these cases, it's right near the coast. Yeah, I see your definition on BRAC on the website, my brother. Thank you. Offshore sailors saw columns of water rising in the sea before the great wave, likely submarine gas or displaced water. So, earthquakes causing water spouts that could cause crater-like impressions in the ground. And they would leave hills because they're going to blow that dirt up. It's there. All the dirt and mud that's mixed in from below, it's blowing it up in a spout. And it's going to come down and build a little hill around the outer edge, just like you see with craters. 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Broken water mains and liquefaction created erupting geysers of muddy water in parts of the city and nearby marshlands. And of course, we know San Francisco sits right on the coast. Japan, multi-Indo-period records, chronicles from 1600s to 1800s mention sea spouts appearing before and during quakes, possibly related to seabed venting or small tsunamis. Again, quakes. Japan literally sits on the water, and it's a very small country. So water spouting from the ground, potentially creating craters. Mythic and cultural records. Many pre-scientific cultures recorded the sea boiling or fountains from the earth during quakes. Chinese chronicles, Tang and Ming dynasties speak of the ground breathing water and sand during quakes, an early description of liquefaction fountains. So I suspect along the east coast of the United States, all of the bays that I'm referring to, let me show you again. Like this, you can see all the different little circles. I suspect that we had a very large earthquake on the East Coast and that it caused all of these that are in this line. Let's see if I can see the map that shows this line again. And like here, referring to the ones over here. Now, this is a map describing something else. It's describing potential for some asteroid exploding in the air and doing this. In my opinion, that's not what's happening, but you can see that these locations where you have all of these bays, okay, like this, are all along the East Coast, okay? And let me see if I can find another good image that shows it. This is kind of a good image. Yes. You can kind of see how concentrated they are. There's a lot of, they look like bubbles that come up from below. Okay. This is just part of my study in understanding how many things work and how these things come to exist. I've flown a drone over the Carolina Bays here in South Carolina before. I've flown a drone over them. I've walked over them on ground, and they're circles, and they have the dirt mounded all around them. Let's see here. Here's another image here. Okay. There's literally a mound of dirt all the way around them, like if it's as if dirt was thrown up from somewheres. And what I'm saying is it was from somewheres, but it was from below due to an earthquake. Now, we ultimately are going to find out and understand better what earthquakes are as well. But I'm not going to dive into that today. I'm going to dive into something, though, that is very interesting very soon here, which this isn't it here. This is a few more accounts of indigenous North America and oral histories describe rivers rising against the wind or earth vomiting water in earthquake stories from the Pacific Northwest and Mississippi Valley. Okay. Greek accounts 426 BCE describe earthquakes followed by water rising in columns from the sea near the whatever place, possibly early tsunamis or submarine plumes. Okay. Now this is just part and important because of a bigger study of what I'm trying to understand. I wanted to understand, I wanted to know what volcanoes are. And I've talked to y'all guys about what volcanoes are. They're the remnants of the giant ancient trees. And all that energy is stored down below in the ancient tree stump, and over the hundreds, thousands of years, it's transmuted and turned into basically this very volatile liquid that is superheated, that on occasions blows up, especially when it gets water infiltrating into the system. And then that water expands upon boiling and blows the volcano. And I also wanted to understand craters themselves, And so I did a little looking too more recently to see if I see anything. And it says mysterious 100-foot geyser erupts in U.S. state's oil field recently hit by earthquakes. So they had an earthquake in Texas, and it blew its top. Just had a spout come out of the ground. As you can see, the ground is saturated, been raining or whatever it is, and had an earthquake, and the spout came out of the ground. Rapture, closest word to rupture. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I'm into the words, trying to discern what even we're saying when we're speaking. Absolutely. So, a recent report of this kind of activity. And this is another report talking about the moment an earthquake hits in Japan. Okay. And what it caused, it shows this video of the camera, but you can't see the image of what they're trying to show you. But the picture of it is right here. The water and mud blew out of the ground upon the earthquake striking. Okay. But I'm sure curious to put my mind at work on the earthquake phenomenon. But I'm also still down some some other deep rabbit holes right now and got work running out in my ears. I mean, I got 3 documentaries going. I'm going live every day of the week for 31 days straight on the October Superthon. Matter of fact, that might be a good time to give y'all guys an update here on that. Let's do that real quick. Okay, so October Superthon, what is that? Well, let me show you. And I know not everybody here, or a lot of people here have seen it, but others have not, because we have a lot of new viewers. So take a look at this little video I put together. So that gives you an idea of what it's about. It's about taking care of some things that needs to be taken care of. And with the normal average flow of income that comes in, I can't take care of these things. Like, I have a PC that has to be replaced right now. And it's going to cost at least $2,000 to get a proper PC that can run this studio, because I'm having serious problems with making a supernatural show go with multiple guests, like Roxy and Shannon and Miss Kim and others. And I want to have others, but I can't do others when it's about to blow up my PC, because I'm running it at 100% CPU. So I've got to upgrade. And so I'm asking y'all guys to help me achieve that goal, along with a lot of other goals, by achieving this goal, which is the Superthon. Now, if we take a look at the updated page, see if this is the updated page. See where we're at here. Okay, so we actually finally broke the $2,000 mark. We're at $2,019 raised since the 1st of October. Okay, and that is very awesome. But I'm hoping that there's going to be some people that are going to step in and help me move that needle on up, and hopefully achieve that 100% and get that $10,000, because there are multiple things that really need to be taken care of. And I would love to also share some of that with my team members that are involved in the Supernatural Show and the Supernatural Show Network. So now to give you an update on who contributed this time, it was 2 people. John M. He made a donation via Venmo. And then we also had Chris M., which I thought it was just a donation, but it's actually better than that. He signed up for a level 2 membership on the Supernatural Show website. So thank you, John, and thank you, Chris. I greatly appreciate that support. And as a matter of fact, I want to read, I haven't done it in a while. I want to read from the top people's names that have contributed and are making make it so far where it's at. Kimberly G. This back at the beginning towards the first. Kimberly G. Lisa C. Stephen N. David H. Kimberly G. again. Super Dave 44. Shannon M., which is my co-host, she donated. Sandra E. John C. Leonard K. Sell Stuff 911. Dennis D. C. Austin. Robin C. Chris S. Kimberly G. again. Jessica R. Hoyle Sullivan. Daniel L, Billy W, Tammy S, Robin W, Kent G, Super Dave 44 again, Daniel L again, Rachel M, Jerry G, Daniel G, Barbara K, Brian R, Billy W, Tanea K, Robin W again, J R, or John R, excuse me, Gene T, and Daniel L again for the third time, and Super Dave 44 for the third time, Diana K, and Gene T for the second time, Karen J, and John M, and Chris M from yesterday. So thank y'all guys greatly for helping me achieve this so far, and hopefully some more of y'all guys will decide to contribute and help me achieve these goals. I've had many times in the past, not many, I've had several times in the past where I've raised much more than this amount and gave it all away. That was the whole idea, was to give it away and to help others. In this case, I'm trying to help myself. I'm trying to help the show. I'm trying to help the team. Okay? And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I need to be able to grow in order to grow. You understand? And no, I'm not looking to buy fancy things or do anything other than a fancy computer to run this show. And I hope y'all guys understand. All right, let's see where we were at. We were looking at images of this is out of California, where there was an earthquake and another spout. And talk to y'all guys about the geysers and the craters and how they're, I believe, the same thing. If you look at like most of them, like this one here, for instance, let me see if I can open it up. There typically is a mound of dirt around the outside that's pretty good, pretty significant, just like with a geyser. Okay. The geysers will have mounds of dirt around them as well. Okay. Makes sense because there's material being blown up from below, and then it builds a little hill around the edge of it, right? So that's what you typically get. But you also typically are going to get in the center of them, there's going to be like, it's going to look a little different in the center. Okay. You can see where all the rain has fallen and you got these little trenches and all this dirt that's come down here. And whatever hole was here is now filled in, from where the water spouted up from previous, but it always looks a little different here in the center. Let's see if I can see another example for you. Let's see. Trying to show me moon stuff, which may be related. Here's another one. This one's in another location, and as you can see, the center of it looks a little different down there for some reason. As a matter of fact, it's got, some stuff growing down there, but this whole area right here looks a little different. And I noticed this on a lot of them. Strangely enough, even the ones that are on the moon have this little center area, or they claims on the moon, have this little center area that's raised up in a lot of the images. I'm not saying they're the same thing yet, but I'm still pondering things, okay? Looking for some more images that are related to, let's see. Let's put in the word Earth here so it stops going to the moon. Okay. So you can see this one over here. Another kind of example of it looking, somehow different in the middle. And as you can see, this is a desert, but there's water coming from somewhere. It's right here in the center of this crater where something from outer space hit it. Why would there be water coming up, allowing things to grow in here? And this thing is massive, but there's a ring of water? Or is this where the hole was and there's still water coming up from below? Anybody have any logic out there? Anybody with any logic before authority out there? I think there are. I think you can see it. Let's see. Let's see if we see another one. Well, we've got this one. And it's full of water. Oh, it's just rainwater, Daniel. Are you sure? It's just rainwater? Because this one's in the desert. Is that just rainwater too? Oh, Daniel. I don't think it's just rainwater. See what else we see here. Y'all down there in the middle, you got stuff growing and it's green down there. Gotta imagine, see the people over here? See how big this hole is? But there's stuff green growing down there. Why? Oh, it's just rain, Daniel. Okay. How about this one? Well, it might be the same one, possibly. It's showing me the same hole. There are tons of them out there, but when you just run a quick search like this, it only gives you the most, I guess, the most popular or the ones they want you to see. One or the other. Kind of an interesting looking one too. A little different. That looks volcanic to me, actually, which would be related to same part of the same subject, I guess you'd say. Mystery of Siberia's giant exploding craters. Really? The crater exploded? I wonder how that happened. Thought it was a meteor hit it. Okay. Mm-hmm. See, they're calling it a mystery as to why this crater that they were claiming was a crater exploded out of the blue. Here, I'll give you a little bit of size reference. Well, you can't see that well. Let's see if I can open it and get a better picture. That's a little better. So here you go. Here's your crater that was from a, you know, but apparently it exploded. And guess what? It's full of water too. You know, isn't that interesting? Gives a lot of credence. Gives a lot of credence. Different ones blowing up since 2014. And I can't say for sure if those are all ones they claim were already craters. Normally when they call something a crater, they're referring to it as a asteroid impact. Let's see, this one. And of course, you'll notice that they're all perfectly round, like I've said before. So the rock that hit it didn't come in from any angle. It came in from straight above, like it was dropped up like a bomb out of an airplane. Even that, coming out of an airplane, would cause the hole to be elongated or strung out in a different way. Not perfectly round like this. And you got the hill of dirt all the way around. Just like what I've been saying. All right, let's look just a little bit more and see if we happen to see a different one. Even they're saying this is an impact crater. Now that looks like one of the Carolina Bays. See the dirt piled up in the background? And obviously the person standing here taking this picture is standing on a hill. This water came from below and blew all this rock and debris out in a big circle around it. This is an earthquake spout. That's what I would call it. Magically all full of water, no matter where they're at, or a lot of times have water or something growing down in the center, like there is a source of water to be found there. Okay. Okay, so best impact craters in the world, right? Let's look at it and see what we see. Best impact craters in the world. Yeah, it's got the dirt piled all the way around the outside. Full of water in the bottom. You're going to have pictures of everything, or you're just going to give me a list? Well, they got a list. Let me see if I click on this photo, does it give me? Nope, doesn't give me no more photos. That's not very helpful. Ultimately, I will be pulling a lot of this together in either one or a couple of documentaries, because for some people, this has to be proven in a more professional manner in order for them to be able to see it, you know? Here's one. Got a forest all around it. Got a mound of dirt all the way around it. And it looks kind of funny down here in the middle. I would say that this one, it ain't been that long ago, it went kablooey and blew water up from below. This is not an asteroid strike. I hope y'all guys' eyes are starting to finally really open up to see all the things that we've been lied to about. As well as all the truth that I'm able to bring y'all guys because y'all guys support my work. Once I'm not live every day after October, I'll be able to spend more time on digging up all the imagery and videos and everything of these kinds of things. Okay. Here we got another one. So now we understand multiple more things. Now, could I be wrong somehow? Well, I need somebody to bring me some evidence, some logical evidence to explain. And what you have to do is you have to list the attributes of everything side by side and then see what is the most probable answer. Because I think that the one that is not the most probable answer will expose itself when looked at with a logical, critical mind. Just a matter of time, and we'll get a lot more of this figured out. Now, I will tell you what I'm going to be probably talking about tomorrow, and it's more crazy by far than this. I want to talk about it today, but just going to take more preparation. I hope I have time to be able to get it done by tomorrow. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain finally by looking at nature, by looking at our human eye. You see, photography, protons, okay, meaning light. Photography was invented by the study of the human eye and the way the human eye works. You have rods and cones in your eye. Okay? You have rods and cones in your eye. And the rods do one job and the cones do another job. One of them is sensitive to light and darkness. It creates a negative image for the brain to process. Creates a negative. Photography, when the old type of cameras where you had the negatives, photography was based on that. The way that the eye, like the old black and white photos, they were based on the same principle of the eye with the rods and cones. Now, you have, I think it's the cones that recognize the light differentiate, where there's dark and light. And the rods, I think, represent the color sensor. They sense color. Now, when you go back to the old black and white photos, it's all about a chemical process And the rods and cones, that's what they produce, is a chemical reaction to the light. Okay. And so when you realize and understand how the eye works, you can understand how the world works and how even our heavens work. The sun, the moon. The sun is the positive side, which carries all the colors in it. Of course, the white light, if you fract it, you will get all the colors of the rainbow. And the moon, it is the negative. Masculine energy versus feminine energy. The moon produces the negative image. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go into it anymore today. But by tomorrow, I'm going to explain to you what the moon is and explain to you why it is what I'm saying. And I'm going to prove it to you with your own eyes so you can see it. Okay? But for today, I'm going to leave it there, give myself just a little bit of an extra break. And because I am going live every day, imagine putting on a logical presentation every day. It ain't easy. Please support my work. Help me achieve the goals that I've set before myself, believing I can achieve them. The Supernatural.show. The Supernatural.show is the website. I love you. Father loves you. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.